What's up, everyone? I am Ernest Dove of the Dove Report, and yes, your boy had it first from yesterday. I was already calling it. I was source reporting a lot of the transactions. I even told everybody and you guys from the morning to expect a massive flurry of transactions. Then I started naming names. Now, today in this video, I want to go through the full detailed list with as many prospects as possible. Some of the top ones, obviously, even down to the draft picks that are now going to get into games. I'll talk about some of the stuff like with Jonathan Santucci now in AAA. What are we really going to have to look for him? All the way down to the college picks like Aiden Robbins. What do we need to see even in a cup of coffee to start pro baseball? Speaking of which, let me get it started. Right into it. Jonathan Santucci. He may be, arguably now, the number one pitching prospect in the New York Mets organization. These things change for a lot of reasons. You know my hype even from spring. I still love me some Jack Weniger. I'm still a big Jonah Tong fan, but you know what? Here's the guy that's hot. He's also a lefty who throws 95 plus. He has some of the most devastating stuff in the farm systems of any farm system, let alone the Mets. What do we have to worry about or think about? It's going to be about pitch command. I've been talking about him for a couple of years. Jonathan Santucci in college was a bit of a struggle with his command. Then he improved mightily in pro ball. But then all of a sudden, 2026, repeating AA, looks like he had some issues beginning of the season with high pitch counts, but he still maintained healthy, filthy stuff. Now he started getting hot in June, in July. He gets the earned promotion. And you know what? By the way, everyone, once again, talking about it for years, the baseballs, for some reason, are different. Have a little bit of a different grip and feel from AA to AAA. AAA and major leagues, as far as I still understand it, use the same baseballs. For whatever reason, they don't use the exact ones everywhere below it. So, first things first, has Jonathan Santucci touched the new baseball? I want to see how he does either way with the walks. Even from his first couple of starts now in AAA, it's all about the walk rate for me. But again, as a ceiling, he could be a guy. I still see him as being above a David Peterson. I believe he has more filthier stuff. But again, with or without the right pitch command, what will his future be? That's going to be the thing we have to wait on. Then, I reported it first. Mitch Voit going to AA. It's interesting. A lot of fans actually seem a little confused. Like, yes, we know he's a top prospect of, but all of his slash lines and stats are pretty terrible. Why is he even getting promoted? Well, you know what? A lot of things there, but he's also a college draft pick, a top college draft pick. You got to start moving these guys up to test them. Also, offensively, anyone, even though he's a righty, offense is not easy in Brooklyn, and those wins amongst everything else. Also, he's an above-average glove, above-average speed. He's a top 3 in stolen bases in the league in A-ball, high A. He deserves to be tested. He also had a 900 OPS in June. This is a raw bat that was putting things together. My ongoing ceiling for him, I do feel still he has a ceiling of being an everyday player, an everyday middle infielder, short or second. Could he have a backup plan as being a super utility guy, a right-handed Jeff McNeil with more speed, a version of a Luis Guillorme almost-ish type of defense, but again with more speed and possibly a little bit more power, more of a hit tool? That's to be determined, but now he's at the show me level to find out. Then we have the older arm. Again, I was the first to report pitcher Noah Hall getting to AA. Now he's a bit of an older guy, 24, 25 years old. He's a guy also has a bit of command issues in pro baseball. He has sorted that out briefly now in the month of July. So pitch command alone, once it got better in high A, he had no business being there because he has filthy stuff, very high K rate. He's one of those guys with a sub 200 opponent batting average probably everywhere he goes in the low minors. Now is the show me level. I want to see obviously his pitch command and walks, but I want to see can he maintain the K rate at the show me level with his stuff. I believe the question and answer is yes. Future wise, I would see him, if he's going to be a rotation guy, even at AA, maybe AAA, I could still envision a Noah Hall use the filthy stuff in the pen. That's my personal opinion. You guys let me know if you do know about Noah Hall, some of the stats. would you want to transition a guy like this to the pen, even as a long man or even a 1-2 inning guy? Then we have a guy making his return back to Brooklyn. Antonio Jimenez from the draft last year with Mitch Voit. He struggled mightily in Brooklyn this year to the point of getting demoted. Then he got really hot in low A, started to slow down, then got hot again. But the thing about Antonio Jimenez, I've heard about a couple of minor adjustments he's done at the plate and the swing. The power has looked really good. Again, even in Florida State League, not a lot of power can be shown in that league with the big ballparks, Florida weather, not great for righties or lefties. This is another pure talent guy, raw talent guy with above average defense. I want to see how Antonio Jimenez does again, back at the high A level. Can he maintain enough hit tool? That's going to be something to determine. Then, my guy, Trey Snyder, the young player who, in my opinion, would have already been in Brooklyn by now, but because he got that delayed start, breaking camp on the IL, it took him a little longer. But now he finally gets the earned promotions after being basically the hottest player in the New York Mets farm system before getting the call-up. He was hitting over 400 in July. So he was hot. I have a lot of high expectations for Trey Snyder, although I do continue to question, what do you do with him if he's in the Mets organization in a few years? Is he going to be a center fielder? Do you move him full-time to second base? If it's not those two options, where do you go with Trey Snyder? Do you trade a guy like Trey Snyder? I'm not trying to do it or jinx it, but you've got A.J. Ewing in center. We don't know what to do with what's going on second base. Marcus Semien, Mitch Voit. There's going to be options for middle infield. I'm curious what they even do with Trey Snyder, but right now, first things first, he's a good bat, solid bat, 20 years old, bright future ahead. The younger guy, this is a surprise to me. 19-year-old Emilio Obispo, all of a sudden going from Dominican Summer League, he comes stateside. He's already in St. Lucie, thriving with a 2.03 ERA. They pushed the 19-year-old to Brooklyn to end the season. I personally find this fascinating, even if the Mets are maybe trying to make room on Lucie for all their college pitchers. I understand, but a 19-year-old, I'm excited about Obispo. This is going to be a pretty interesting kid to follow, right-handed pitcher, good enough command, not a perfect walk rate, but it's okay at this point already. Got about a 9-for-9 K rate. He's pretty much even innings to Ks. I'm excited to see a 19-year-old get tested because, again, that league in the Sally League can also be known as a pitcher's league. So I want to see if he can continue a really nice stat line throughout the year, even as a teenager now in high A. The other guys, we have Chase Meggers. He was a college catcher. I believe he's kind of being there to help out. Probably got promoted to make room for the young Giovanni Rodriguez, who's now in St. Lucie. This is kind of a depth guy, but I'm excited to see guys like this from college, even undrafted or late-round draft picks. You want to see those guys get tested at the higher levels into AA. Let's see what they have depth-wise for a guy like this as a catcher. Then we get to the draft picks. Let's get into it. Obviously, Aiden Robbins is the guy going to St. Lucie. They're assigning most of their draft picks to low-A St. Lucie. Aiden Robbins is a fascinating guy. Why did he fall in the draft? Could he have been a first-round pick still by somebody? But he wasn't. The Mets stole him, maybe, in the third round. What's to do? He's got video game numbers, video game home run totals. Maybe some of the concerns, the overall quote-unquote hit tool for Aiden Robbins. Will he have enough hit tool? Will there be too much swing and miss on his part? You have to watch the K rate. This is only going to be a cup of coffee in pro ball. Can't expect a lot of home runs again in these leagues in Florida. But I want to see how he does getting this taste. And as a right-handed power bat, we're going to need it. Even thinking in the future, you've got Benjamin Ewing and Soto out there in the outfield. If they move a guy like Soto, you can plug in a right-handed outfielder now to kind of mix and match with the lefties. Now, I just mentioned it, the very young Giovanni Rodriguez. You know I've been hyping him for years. If it was up to me, I predicted it 2 years ago. He would be a top 3 New York Mets prospect by 2026. I'm in trouble with that projection because we're already in the season. So unless post-publications after the season get him into the top 3, I'm not going to technically meet my goal and projection for him. But I'm curious to see if he can at least get into the top 10-ish rankings in a lot of publications by the end of this year into next year. He had a very solid season way down the complex league. I like his throwing arm. I believe he's a good enough catcher, like a guy who can stick at catcher. I believe he has enough of a hit tool. He hit about 280 of sorts for the year. I believe he could be a good enough kind of two-way player as a catcher. I think he can hit and defend. Power, I don't see a ton of power, but I think maybe at least 10, 12, 15 plus home run power. But again, I have him as a very highly regarded catcher. It's going to be curious to see how he even does offensively now at this low A level. Some of the other guys, the younger guy, Vladdy Gomez, I don't know why he spent so much time dominating video game numbers in the complex league. Thank goodness he's finally where he belongs in low A. Another one of the guys could be in a middle infield or outfield mix, kind of you mix and match type of IFA kid who's a little bit older now, 19, 20. He deserves this shot. Some of the other things in news and notes to bring up, even major league wise, the return of Austin Warren, at least on rehab assignment, along with Clay Holmes. They may have definitely two different things going on. Warren trying to get back on track. Clay Holmes, is he just trying to pitch to be showcased? That's a lot to be thought about and desired. Other things going on. My guy, Jacob Reimer, is still on rehab assignments. It got moved to Brooklyn. I had reported from last week, I was hoping he'd be activated by now at AA. I was mistaken. It actually ends up being DeAndre Smith now, who did get recalled officially back to AA. But it looks like they're still taking their time with Jacob Reimer. I don't know how much I should worry at this point. He's been off and on battling some kind of injuries. He's had a rough year altogether even before the IL stint. It's almost a second lost season for Jacob Reimer. Remember, he lost the season a couple of years ago as well as a late teen 20-year-old. Now he's at it again. He's a guy now you got to wait on for another year. That's some of my information on this point. Again, these guys at higher levels now, even from low A to high A to AA, these are still very huge jumps for very talented Mets prospects. I think the entire Mets farm system in top 30 is going to look a lot different post-trade deadline. So I'm going to try for you guys to come up with a new version of a new rankings a little bit, maybe a month or so or weeks after the deadline's over, so I can really process my thoughts, add in some of the college guys and the new guys who are probably coming. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Be on the lookout for all the new prospects and all the new places, because you know I'll be watching. Follow my account on social media. I'll give you guys the updates every day, all day, and then here on the Dove Report.